just all over the place. I mean, spinning its wheels into third gear. This morning, we are back with the 2026 BMW M2 CS. I've spent the last few days with this car. We road tripped it out to Gingerman Raceway, about a 300-mile round trip, with a track day in the middle, which explains all of the dead bugs on the front. This thing kills bugs fast. But today, I am headed to Vintique Motors in Livonia, Michigan to do some bring-a-trailer photography, and I figured while I still have this M2 CS, I would bring you guys all along for my morning commute, and we can evaluate this a bit more in the name of daily driving as opposed to road tripping and track daying. And well, I'm super excited because this has been a lovely thing to live with for the past few days. If you guys are unfamiliar with the M2 CS, it is the current most hardcore version of BMW's G87 M2 that they currently make. This is powered, of course, by the 3-liter turbocharged S58, twin power turbocharged S58 straight 6. It makes 523 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque, which is 50 horsepower up and I think 36 pound-feet of torque up from the standard G87 non-CS M2. But they haven't just tuned the engine in typical CS form. They've sort of gone through and touched just about everything. It's got unique wheels. It's got standard carbon everywhere, mirror caps, roof, trunk, which we'll show you in a sec, which is very cool. Different grills that just make this more open, which means it inhales more than just bugs. There's bits of leaves and gravel in here and things that we've seen on other big gaping front ends on BMW M cars. But inside, standard carbon buckets, standard Alcantara steering wheel, standard carbon center console. So we'll quickly poke around this, and I'll link my road trip in the description because that will just be more content on this thing. If you guys are curious about it, you can see carbon fiber reinforced plastic boot back here, and it looks unique because it's a little bit of a ducktail style going on. So I like that they did that extra touch. And I'm realizing that I've got my marshmallow sticks back here. We went over to my buddy Eric's for his birthday the other night, and I brought these over to make s'mores, and well, they're still in the trunk. So I guess we get to listen to those clank around, hopefully not too loudly. This little thing back here, you may think, oh, it's a toolkit. It's not. It's nothing. I don't know why they have this back here. And I said in my road trip video that it would be cool. Come on, go back. There you go. I said in my road trip video it would be cool if they made that a T25 wrench because of the carbon buckets being able to take the headrest out to fit helmets. But anyway, it's just nothing. M2 CS, as far as I know, I didn't see anything about this having the titanium muffler like the M3 and M4 CS have. But there are, of course, other things that aren't similar to M3 and M4. With the fact that this is rear-wheel drive is very different as well. But M2 CS just gets the black tips. I mentioned it has the S58, it still has the 8-speed automatic, and it's not X-Drive. So pretty cool for some people that were not huge on the idea of the 3 and 4 CS being X-Drive. Now this CS altogether with all the weight savings, all the different tweaks that they've done to this, it sits 0.2 of an inch lower than the regular car, and it weighs 97 pounds less than a regular automatic M2. Now, the automatic M2 is a bit heavier than the manual car, so apples to apples, if you compare this to a manual car, it's just under 50 pounds lighter, which means curb weight comes in at 3,770 pounds. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not really lightweight, but for an M2, you could say that I guess it is. We also get this special little front lip here, which is not carbon, which is interesting, but honestly, kind of appreciate that because if you hit that on a driveway or something, it's not going to cost you thousands of dollars to replace it. Let's pop the hood and show you this S58. Quite the engineering marvel. When I took this on my road trip, it got 29 miles to the gallon on the highway, which is 6 mpg over what the EPA rates this thing at. 16 city, 23 highway, 19 combined. Obviously, I've been seeing closer to that combined figure since I've been home and just driving this thing normally. But man, BMW inline sixes these days are just incredibly efficient. The B58, I mean, Charlie and I used to see in like the mid to high 30s when we would run fuel economy tests. And the S58 is just as impressive because, I mean, this makes over 500 horsepower and it's almost able to touch 30 mpg on a road trip. Now, we told you these wheels are unique, and behind the wheels we have the optional carbon ceramic brakes, which we won't need for today, but we did need them on the track, and they were an absolute treat. These are a staggered wheel setup. You can see they've got lots of brake dust and things on them in bronze, which I do love. A 19 on the front and a 20 on the back, a 275/35 here, and a 285/30, so staggered in a couple of different ways. I think the look here is fantastic. I love the carbon roof. I love this carbon trunk with the ducktail, and man, it's just such a good looking thing. Inside, a couple little special interior touches. These are the same carbon buckets that we know in lots of other M cars, but these say CS on them, and they do light up at night. You've also got little light up CS badges here in the door panels, which during the daytime you can't see, but it's a really cool touch to the ambient lighting in this M2. And I always like to show the back seat in G87s because it's one of the most usable back seats in any coupe in the year 2026. I mean, I'm 5'11", sitting back here. If you're commuting with some friends, if you're carpooling to work in your BMW M2, genuinely, like, jokes aside, you really could do it because I fit back here. Of course, headroom's a little bit limited, but I can still sit up without having to slouch, and you could tickle the driver through all of the holes in the carbon bucket. But man, I gotta say, this is a beautiful seat, especially from the back with all of this polished carbon. It's so pretty. No cup holders back here because, well, there's no cup holders anywhere in the M2 CS, so that obviously carries to the back seat. You've got a little pass-through if you're carrying skis or golf clubs or whatever, you need extra room. That works out. And then you've got this little M tricolored strap to move the seat back forward, which does squeak a bit on the seat belt. The only awkward bit is getting in and out of the back seat, and sometimes actually awkward getting in and out of the front seat. But I've really grown to love these M carbon bucket seats, and I seriously think these are the best looking seats right now on the market. They are just stunning. I mean, these look like a very high dollar aftermarket seat that you would upgrade to put in your car, but they literally just come standard in the CS M cars, and they're an option in the other ones. So just so cool to see. Lots of exposed carbon. This one has the M colors on it as well. The blue that goes around here, the red in the middle, just such a cool look. And I've gotten used to sitting in these as well. You know, ingress and egress, not the easiest getting over these hip bolsters, but sitting in these for long periods of time are usually fine. You know, I've run a number of road trips in these carbon buckets and I've never had a problem. Let's start this up and bring this S58 to life. Wireless CarPlay connects so quickly. In fact, I think it starts as soon as you open the door. Otherwise in here, biggest difference is this carbon fiber center console that I don't really like that much for a couple of reasons. One, it doesn't have cup holders, which is a bummer, and the wireless charger that it has doesn't seem to work. Now, I don't know if there's a way to toggle this on in the screen. I haven't found one, but my phone just does nothing when it's on the wireless charger. And then additionally, there's no cubby here. There's no center console, so you just have this little wrist rest, which does say CS on it, which is cool. And then you have this little hole right here with a grippy surface, which I'm using for my camera charger, because of course we're bringing the camera out to take the Bring a Trailer pictures. And the camera just kind of has to ride there on the passenger seat because I don't know where else to put it. It's not going to fit in the glove box. I guess I could put it back here on the floor, but then, yeah, okay, I guess that's probably a better spot for it, is on the floor back there. Less risk of it flying forward and getting smashed. But you guys know the rest of this interior. I drive 8.5. This has carbon on the dash. I mentioned this heated Alcantara wrapped steering wheel does come standard with these big carbon paddle shifters. You've got your programmable M1 and M2 modes, which I actually just put this into M1 mode. So you guys can hear the exhaust. We're almost all the way warmed up, so we'll give it a couple blips here. I love the little burbles that you get from this, and these are just so easy. You take it in and out of these M modes very, very quickly, and you can set these up with this little setup button down here on your shifter panel. And I've got M1 set up for street, everything in comfort except for the engine and the gearbox. And M2, I've got everything off, everything in attack mode, sport, S3, all the stuff except steering is in comfort. but otherwise we got everything into Sport. Apple CarPlay does a great job at being Apple CarPlay here on this infotainment, and you do still get a volume knob even though they took the climate control panel away when they introduced iDrive 8. As a summary, you know, this interior, it's not as bad to live with as I thought, and really the only thing about it that's annoying is the center console. For more reasons than one, and you'll learn those as we start driving if it does continue creaking like it's been doing for me all week. But it's just about time to leave, actually, 9:30. I need to be over to Vintique around 10, so let's get this thing out on the road and run our morning commute. Into reverse, I love how BMW has kind of made this automatic shifter mimic a manual, kind of pushing over to the left and up to go into reverse. My manual transmission equipped BMW M Roadster, that's where reverse is on that car. So I think that's definitely what they're trying to mimic. And it's easy to just kind of learn this shifter and work it in a very fluid manner. So it just makes it easy to daily drive this car. Of course, you could raise the point that it's a bit of a bummer that the M2 CS is automatic only, but a couple of buts here. One, BMW just introduced the M3 CS Handschalter, which is a rear-wheel drive manual transmission version of the M3 CS. So it does go to show BMW is still producing as many manuals as they can. They're getting them out the door. So maybe before the next generation M2, we will see a G87 M2 Handschalter. And then BMW also just announced the M2 xDrive, which is the regular M2 with xDrive, which is gonna be nuts because usually the reason these cars are slower to 60 than an M3 or an M4 xDrive is because they don't have the extra drive wheels to give them grip. So I know that M2 xDrive is going to be an animal as well. Let me adjust my display here. This week, I've been doing 23.6 mpg since I got back from the road trip. In fact, this actually counts the second half of the trip. So over the last 240 miles, this is what we've been averaging. I did ruin this quite a bit last night filming the videos for the Winding Road Magazine YouTube channel, which you can find linked in the description. But anyway, it's very, oh, there goes the key out of my pocket. That's another thing. This car, it's very eager to go. So throttle response and things, you do have to be careful. They are still quite linear, but at a very sort of immediate level. So the way that you're angled in these seats, okay, your butt goes down and your legs kind of go up because it's a true sort of carbon bucket seat, which means if you have things in your pocket, they are going to fall out. And the key to the car just went somewhere into the depths of the floor. So I guess we'll find that when we stop. But other than that, these carbon buckets are lovely, and I love how low you sit down in them. It's one of the lowest factory seating positions I think I've ever experienced. All right, let's give a little bit of a performance section before we jump on the highway. When you put this into M1, you have your gearbox set into S3. It just completely transforms the characteristics of this. It just fires gear changes off. I mean, it's just so quick. This car, it's so fast. Like, so fast to the point where you can really only stay in it for a couple of seconds because it's just, it's really rapid, this thing. We had it out on the track with my buddy Sean's 981 Cayman GT4 and my buddy Graham's Camaro SS1 LE. This was just walking away. I mean, they had no hope. And I'm talking on the straightaways. I'm not even equating this to driver mod because they're both great drivers. This car is just that fast that they could not hang. And the brakes are absolutely incredible. We found this on the track as well. Just seriously impressive. I texted Jeff from BMW when we got back, and I was like, I think this might be the most impressive sort of all-rounder car that we've ever had out to Gingerman. And I really meant it. So, all right, let's try to do a launch control. It's a little bit tricky, and I'm honestly not entirely sure that it's even going to work, but you have to have DSC off, which is sketchy. And then you have to be in manual mode, but the car will change gear for you. So let's see if it works. Yeah, just all over the place. I mean, spinning its wheels into third gear. So we're gonna put this immediately back into M1 mode. I wasn't scared. Yeah, we're all good. Decent amounts of runoff here. But it's supposedly good for 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds, which is just bonkers for a rear-wheel drive car. But BMW's also gone through and they've tweaked all of the sort of tuning with this as well. So the diff has a specific CS tune, the throttle, the brake, the gearbox, everything has been tweaked. A lot of the suspension components are different here, or tuned differently. The M adaptive dampers, which of course we have at all four corners, those have a CS specific tune on them. So lots of things working together here to make this one notch above, or it feels like 6 notches above, the regular M2. And because of that, it's a bit more expensive. The regular M2 starts just under $70,000. It's a bit more. $30,000 more. It starts at like $98,000. This one has spec is $111,000. So it's a lot more. You could argue that you could take that extra $30,000 to $40,000 and just upgrade your regular M, and you could have a manual gearbox, and you wouldn't have the carbon center console. But then you wouldn't have the aura of the CS, and I think that's kind of the biggest thing with this car is the limited availability and specialness. You guys hear the key rolling around? No idea where it is. You just have to accept that the M2 CS is going to strip you of all your belongings. It's kind of like TSA. Goodness, this thing just rips. Where is the key? Oh, I found it. Wait. Got the key. Okay, put that in the center console so it's not just rolling around. It was a bit of roadkill. If you got a hoodie, take it off! Take it off! All right, let's see what our performance is like here under this little bridge. I think the fact that this is spinning its wheels into third gear is proof enough to you guys that it is wicked fast. Like, what sort of torque converter automatic car spins into third gear? Come on, this is just insane. All right, but here's the thing with the M2 CS, okay? You may think that because it's been CS-ified, that it's not livable, but that just isn't the case. I mean, you get out here onto the highway, I've got my dampers in comfort mode, and it just rides like a normal car. This is not chattering my teeth out. Of course, the ride is firm. I'm not saying that this is gonna ride down the road like an old Cadillac DeVille, but you guys have seen me drive a Focus RS on this section of road, and my head was almost hitting the headliner. This just soaks it all up. And they've updated the steering wheel as well, so your cruise control functions, your distance adjust for the adaptive cruise, are all physical buttons on the steering wheel, so it's very easy to use in that way as well. The damping is just about perfect, really intelligent tune on these dampers all together. And even, okay, honestly, setting yourself up in this car to cruise down the highway, it's a bit of a bummer that you don't have the center console to rest your right elbow on, yes, but you can just kind of rest your forearm on this little guy here, which is padded, rest your hand on the shifter, and then your left elbow does have a pretty good padded surface here for the driver's door panel, and then ergonomically otherwise, I told you guys I love this seating position, how low you can sit down, but it doesn't hinder your visibility out of this. I can see just fine out the back. These mirrors are a good size to see out of the sides. I can even see about halfway down the hood, even with the seat being so low. Kind of rivaling Porsche here with the seating position, I think, with these carbon buckets. They just do the trick for me, and I love daily driving these cars so much. Like, I really do see the appeal of why all those TikTok kids have G80 M3s with the carbon buckets, and it's just their favorite thing in the entire world. It makes sense to me once I get into a G chassis M BMW. Even NVH isn't too terrible. I mean, obviously you have some noise from these Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's that have been heat cycled many times at Gingerman Raceway, so we won't blame them completely. But wind noise isn't too bad, and you do get a standard Harman Kardon sound system in this M2 CS, which isn't very good, but it does give you enough sort of volume and power to drown out some of the otherwise annoying NVH. And we'll test that out at some point, probably once we switch highways up here. I'm going to switch to the G meter here on the cluster, just in case we get an open exit ramp, which I'm not going to hold my breath for. Wow, we've already done 1.16 Gs today. Not bad. I think there is a really big misconception with these carbon seats being uncomfortable. They're just not. I mean, I don't know how BMW's done it, but they've made these in such a way where they're so supportive and padded in just the right spots, and then they have the adjustable side bolsters as well, so you can loosen them up a bit if you're on a road trip or something, tighten them when you're on the track. But I just think that you shouldn't judge a seat by its cover. You shouldn't judge this by the way it looks. I've traveled pretty much the entire perimeter of Michigan in an M4 competition that had these seats, and I was fine. I went out to Gingerman and back. I spent 400 or so miles in this car the other day, and my back wasn't sore after spending it in these carbon buckets. So give these a chance. You know, if you're a little bit worried about daily driving in these carbon buckets, you'll be okay. Obviously, if you're a little bit of a bigger human, go sit in the seats. You know, if you're like super tall or something, you might want to try these out before you go for them. But at 5'11" and about 155, 160 pounds, like I'm very content here. Should I put it into M1 mode? Oh, look at this now. You guys, this never happens. Come on. Come on. Just insane levels of grip, 1.09 Gs. It's funny how much of a Jekyll and Hyde this car is as far as being efficient, because it'll do the 29 mpg on the highway, but then it does like 12 at all other times because you're just pushing it everywhere and it just drains fuel. I put a full tank of fuel in this not even 2 days ago. It was like, what, 36 hours ago I put a full tank in this. It's already down to almost half a tank. I've barely driven it. It's a mildly small tank, 13.7 gallons, so it's gonna drain quickly if you are pushing this thing. But man, I cannot compliment this ride quality enough. It's seriously impressive for a car with a CS badge on the back. And this is the beauty of adaptive dampers, okay? You can have this car as a daily driver, and then you put it in sport, stiffen it up, take it to the track, and there is a very big noticeable difference. I ran this on my sighting laps at Gingerman with the suspension in comfort, and it was sketchy. I mean, it was getting really floaty in braking zones on the fast straightaways, and I immediately switched it into the stiffest setting. But it goes to show that there's a very distinguishable difference here with the ride quality, and it makes all the difference for daily driving. As far as using the controls in here go, obviously the steering wheel is fine because all of these buttons are physical. The volume knob down here is lovely as well. Climate control being in the infotainment, don't love that. Obviously, I never do. But I have just been using the auto function this week. And the cool thing about auto in BMWs is they have like 5 different settings. So you can do very low, low, medium, high, or very high. I've just been leaving this in very low, and it still does the trick, and the volume of the vents doesn't blow my eardrums. And you have these little tabs as well to control the vents, which are in pretty good locations. I think these are a little bit low, but this one over here to the left of the steering wheel does a good job, and I don't have any complaints with that. Speed of the infotainment is great, and you do still have the iDrive knob and selector down here to control that, so you don't have to reach forward and use the touchscreen while you're driving. So that is convenient and a bit of a safe feature here for us as well. Anyway, as we anticipate switching highways here, why don't we give you a test of this Harman Kardon, which I do want to brief you guys by saying I have messed with the factory tune on this, and I've boosted everything just about all the way up, because at base EQ, it's terrible. So this is with everything boosted. We used the other song in the road trip, so Cobalt it is. Also, sorry, interrupting the song for a second. Center console has started creaking for the day. You guys hear that? At a certain point in every trip, something happens and the center console starts creaking. I don't know. As you can see there, sound system, kind of just middle of the road. You know, it's not super impressive. It's not terrible if you kind of go in and mess with the EQ yourself, but on a base level, not really there for me. And in a $111,000 car, which I know is kind of a track-focused thing, and you know, a sound system isn't going to be the biggest priority for a car like this, I would still maybe like to see a little bit of a better effort from BMW, and really across the board. A lot of these Harman Kardons right now from them are really just not good. So hopefully they step it up here pretty soon. No point in going into M1 mode here. We've got a little bit of traffic. Well, maybe we'll do it anyway. Mid-range torque here is just unbelievable. This thing pulls like an absolute freight train, no matter what gear you're in, no matter what RPM. It just pulls like crazy. Oh my goodness. Actually, this puts it in perspective how like actually quiet it is in this car in the cabin. Just not a nice center console. I mean, get rid of this piece of junk and give me a normal center console, and this would just be the perfect car. It sounds like pop rocks. You guys hear that? It's like driving down the street with a constant mouthful of pop rocks and having to listen to that constantly. Not ideal. Anyway, though, as we kind of wrap this up and do our last 5 minutes of the commute, I just want to say that every time I drive one of these CSM cars, I for some reason always think they're going to be way too hardcore, not daily drivable. And this is now the third time I've been proved wrong. And to be honest, I was the most worried about this one because the 2 Series is kind of the most enthusiast-oriented BMW these days. And I thought maybe they would have gone over the top with this M2 CS, but they just haven't. I mean, this feels on par with the M3 and M4 CS as far as livability. In fact, it may be even more livable. Like, this is just such a great package. this little car. It's just a lovely thing. It's efficient when you want it to be. It's a bat out of hell when you don't. And I just love that about a car, when it has a split personality, when it's able to be daily driven. You know, this is why I love hot hatches so much, because you're able to just sort of take them to the office and treat them as a normal car on a day-to-day basis, but then on the weekends you can go hit a canyon road, you can go to the racetrack, and they do everything so well. And with this being kind of a compact sized coupe, it does kind of fit that criteria for me. I mean, granted, it is $111,000, so it's definitely very expensive versus, you know, something like a Golf GTI, which is like a third of the price. But I'm really happy with this, and I just very stupid minimal complaints with this car that I think they could improve. The center console, sound system, I don't know, maybe give it a climate control panel, but this is across the board for BMW, not specific to the M2 CS. But my main point here is that this car, it paints a smile on my face no matter what. I'm happy driving this everywhere. I've been taking it on very sort of mundane tasks this week, and it's been lovely for that too. It does it all, and you feel cool doing it too. All that aside, all that to say that the M2 CS is actually a very well-rounded package, and huge respect to BMW for actually making this car livable. You know, if you want something that's not livable, go get yourself an M4 CSL. And if you want something with a manual gearbox, go get yourself a regular M2, because the regular M2 is lovely as well. I don't know what this guy's doing. And you could just do all of these upgrades, you know, save the 30 grand and do the upgrades yourself. I think the one pro of this 8-speed auto, as opposed to the old DCT, which was very visceral, yes, but man, you don't even really notice this existing. I mean, it's changed 5 gears, and I haven't felt a single one of them here, just driving this thing around normally. So all of the tuning, all of the programming here, just so good. You guys can see that's one of the cars I'm photographing today, that Lexus LX 470 with something like 80, it's only got like 80,000 miles on it or something. Pretty impressive. We're taking the Vintique approach, and we're parking diagonal across a couple of spots. Plus, I'm at a BMW, so I have a reason to do that today. But so that's it. That's been my morning commute in the BMW M2 CS to come out and do some photography at Vintique. Let's show you the outside one last time here. Let me know if you guys have any questions about the hottest G87 M2. But I have just enjoyed myself so much, as I've said numerous times in this video. This is just such a lovely car, and I'm going to be sad to see it go in a couple of days. But until then, I'm going to keep enjoying it. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Again, let me know if you have any questions, but otherwise, we will see you in the next one. Take care.